to your cars.
Hello and welcome to this week's race of the nr2003-2007 Sim Series, but it follows the 2026 schedule. Now obviously, you're gonna look at this track and go, this isn't Naval Base Coronado that NASCAR is visiting this weekend. Well, there isn't a download for Coronado yet for NR2003 because no one's made the track yet, even though they've had like a year or two, but people have lives, you know. So we are going to Townie today, which is actually quite old for an NR2003 track. I think this track was created in the early 2010s. But it's a fun little street course. And before we do get into the starting lineup, let's take a look at the points heading into this race so you can see where your favorite driver stacks up as we close in on the chase. On the pole is Kyle Busch with Greg Biffle to his outside, and behind them you have Ryan Newman and Carl Edwards. Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson make up row number 3. They've won the last 4 races, and Kurt Busch and Denny Hamlin make up row number 4. Row 5 consists of Martin Truex Jr. and Boris Said, and Casey Kane and Jamie McMurray in row number 6. Casey Mears and Matt Kenseth in row number 7, with Paul Menard and Dale Earnhardt Jr., the DEI teammates, in row number 8. Row number 9 consists of Elliott Sadler and David Stremme, and row 10 consists of David Reagan and Clint Boyer. Row number 10 consists of Ricky Rudd and, row number 11 consists of Ricky Rudd and Reed Sorensen, and row number 12 consists of Jeff Green and Jeff Burton, the Jeff and Jeff Show. 2 road course riggers lining up behind them, Butch Letzinger and Ron Fellows in row number 13, with JJ Yaley and Kevin Harvick in row number 14. Dale Jarrett and Bobby O'Bonney in row number 15, with PJ Jones, another rigger, and John Andretti in row number 16. Row 17, Kyle Petty and David Gilliland, with Juan Montoya and Dave Blaney behind them. Brian Vickers and Robbie Gordon. Gordon is hopefully going to have a good day today. They lined up at row number 19. And back in the field, surprisingly, Tony Stewart in row number 20. Row 21, rounding out the field since there can only be 42 cars here, Joe Nemechek and Bill Elliott. Bill Elliott did not get a time left in qualifying. Without further ado, let's go down trackside to get the command to fire up these engines from Townie. You know, we'll talk a little bit about Calamity Corner here when we get into this race. But let's just get the command to fire up these engines.
Drivers, start your engines!
And the engines are fired up here from Townie. Only half a pace lap here, so we got to go through it quickly. Stages 12, 25, and then we race to lap 40. Pit windows are about 10 laps each. They can go about 10 laps on fuel, 10 to 12 laps. Depends how much you stretch it. You know, the Calamity Corner, which is where they were lined up near as we went through our starting lineup. If you go over that curb the wrong way, you can get wrecked pretty hard. But here we go to the green flag. Kyle Busch and Greg Biffle are going to lead us to the green flag here from Townie as they come through the S's. These final 2 corners, 2 high-speed corners that you'll see these drivers flying through today. Here we go to the green flag. Is in the air. We are racing from Townie. Kyle Busch with the initial jump, but Greg Biffle hangs to his outside here. Here comes Newman in the second spot as Biffle gives up a little bit of ground. Into the first heavy braking zone here. You see Biffle still trying to hang on next to Newman. He is going to hang on to that second spot. These guys are going to be a little bit cautious here as they head through this first lap, trying not to get out early, trying to figure out what they have here. Now that they're actually in the actual race. This is one of the most unique tracks we'll go to this season, as Busch continues to lead Biffle up the hill, through the first S's up here, and now through the quarry section. Down the hill they go. Kyle Busch Busch still leading ahead of Greg Biffle, and it's Penske teammates Kurt Busch and Ryan Newman battling for third. And here we go, you're about to see Calamity Corner. We're gonna go to the helicopter view for this one. You're gonna see race leader Kyle Busch take these corners first. He's gonna go through here, and you don't want to get up on that curb, but I think Busch is gonna make contact with that curb. He's not gonna get on top of it though, and Corner goes a little wide. He knocks Edwards up the hill. Oh, and around goes Casey Kane. Casey Mears in the 25 also caught up in it. That's exactly what you don't want to do. You do not want to get wrecked. On lap number 1. They're going to hang on to it, and we're going to stay green here since the cautions are manually called by yours truly today, as Kyle Busch completes lap 1 of the race lead. Now, get a look at what happened to Casey Kane and Casey Mears. There, you know, I warned about being a little bit careful there into that corner. And this is going to be Calamity Corner today. You see Kane gets up on that curbing, and he spins into the 25 of Casey Mears. And it's going to be an uphill climb for both of those drivers for the rest of the day. But luckily, they are guaranteed a caution with the stations. Let's check on Casey Mears, who's already making spots back up. That's Mark Martin he's doing. Stewart and Robbie Gordon trying to slice their way through the field. They're just barely inside the top 30 here. Now Robbie Gordon's going to make a move on David Gilliland in the 38. But that's going to leave the door wide open for Tony Stewart in the 20. Now Stewart's going to have to look at the outside of Robbie Gordon. Can he get the pass time? No. As we're back heading towards Calamity Corner, do they make it through this time? The Penske teammates, Busch and Newman, way off the track, and Kurt Busch is going to go for a slide. Kurt Busch goes for a slide. Look at Casey Mears. Nothing happened here last time around. In his mind, because he's still making up positions. Let's take a look at what happened to Kurt Busch. He was racing his teammate Ryan Newman. You see, it's a similar situation. Newman got up on the curbing, and Busch trying to collect it, he loses it here. And through all this, Greg Biffle has taken the race lead from Kyle Busch as Casey Kane has come off of pit road. Kane now a lap down. Let's take a look at what happened for the past 4 of this race lead here, as we were watching Kurt Busch and Ryan Newman get together. It seems like Kyle just got up onto that curbing a little bit. And you see Biffle, he looks slow, and he's going to easily get the pass done. He's probably going to get it done here for the S's. Yeah, Busch lifted a little bit there, even though he had the preferred lane, he lifted a little bit through those S's. Now we're back into Calamity Corner. Biffle towards the curbing. There's Busch, there's Gordon, Kane again with Hamlin right behind him. Boris Said and Jamie McMurray battling for position here. Oh, Reed Sorensen's going to go around. He's going to slam the wall hard and actually roll over once. That'll bring out the first caution of the afternoon. Jeff Burke and Kurt Busch were just coming down pit road just as the caution was called. Let's take a look what happened to the 41 of Reed Sorensen. Yeah, he just got up on those curbs. I guess you can call it the train. Whatever, he just got up on that and lost it. And under caution, you're probably going to see a few stack-ups. So you got to keep your car clean under caution. But for Casey Kane, this is going to get him back on the lead lap. tricky corner here under yellow. And I'd expect most of the field to get their pit stop for stage 1 out of the way here. You see Biff will actually go by the pace car at first there. So we'll further back through the field. In the test runs we've had of this, obviously not on camera, these guys will stack it up a little bit under caution, and you see it right there. Oh, they are stacking up. Robbie Gordon's going to get turned around under caution. Everyone's stacking it up because no one hits the brakes. David Gillen with HUD damage. One of the disadvantages of starting in the rear of your Robbie Gordon is you could get run over from behind by people who don't know what they're doing under caution. That is what just happened. Now, will they be able to handle hitting? Because, you know, no, they won't, because Tony Stewart just ran over Ron Fellows. It seems like that's the most that's gonna happen. Somehow, that's the most that happened. And I think Tony Stewart just parked it. Yep, Tony Stewart, Bill Elliott, Kyle Petty. David Gillen is out. As you see the race off pit road, goes to Greg, maybe Carl Edwards. Casey Mears is out. You know, Mears, one of those guys around that chase bubble. David Gillen, as we mentioned. Bill Elliott, Kyle Petty, Reed Sorensen is out after his accident. Kurt Busch had a slow pit stop there. John Andretti without a hood. Dave Blaney without a hood. Butch Letzinger, and his unsponsored number 23, he'll be back with us at Sonoma next week, getting his first start of the season in today. Dale Jarrett for hood missing. Ron Fellows, he got ran over by Stewart. He's got some damage. So Edwards, and oh, Boris Said is pitting. Boris Said is coming down pit road with the pace car. But as that goes on, we're going to be going back green here from Townie with Carl Edwards in the race lead. Field actually got a little jumbled up back there. As the field roars the way down the front straight. Six cars out of the race so far, as it's the two Roush teammates, Carl Edwards and Greg Biffle, leading the race. Surprisingly, those guys with the damaged tires. It's not completely over in the battle they were having, as Greg Biffle and Carl Edwards are going to go side by side here. The two Rouse teammates, they're going to run side by side to Calamity Corner. As we hit the town streets, Biffle gets around Edwards pretty easily, but he's got to perfect it through here. He had to check up a little bit more than he would have wanted, I would assume. Oh, Reagan and Stremmy made big contact there. That almost was another big accident. We have Green coming to pit road. I think Dale Jarrett's about to make it. No, he's not. But it's Biffle who leads once again. Last time we were on the road course, Watkins Glen. Greg Biffle was in the final corner, the final lap, and he had his heart broken. He got a little bit wide and he hit the wall, and that cost him his shot at victory. He had to come home second that day. Biffle still has not won yet this year. His teammate Edwards, Gordon right there in third, have both won this year. But Edwards is actually being a little bit of a blocker for Greg Biffle here. Doesn't seem like he can keep pace with that 16 car at the moment. So he's actually holding up that 24 of Jeff Gordon. But Gordon's going to go up the inside. And he's going to get him. Gordon gets ahead of Edwards. Now he has to go give chase to Greg Biffle. And the worst thing Greg Biffle can do right here is overdrive it and wreck himself. Is he going to overdrive it? He does a little bit. Oh, that's risky driving from the 16 of Biffle. Here's McMurray on Newman. Johnson Frank's about 3 wide. Stremmy and Montoya both got on top of that curb right there. Fortunately for them, they did not wreck. Johnson going to get Newman now. But Biffle, 1.7 second lead ahead of Jeff Gordon. So we are now 9 laps into this race. You see the lake right there. But hopefully when we get that caution for stage 1, it'll prevent these guys from running each other over. Hopefully the key word. Jeff Burton looks so good at the Americans. Our first road course of the season, he's struggling a little bit here, just outside the top 20. Here's Kurt push up the middle, trying to make up some spots. Here's Biffle again. Through these S's, he does go a little wide. Here comes Jeff Gordon in the 24. Somehow, Biffle does not lose the lead there. Oh, we got a crash. Robbie Gordon in the 7. It was more of a lazy spin, and it's what we've seen several drivers do today. Just get a little bit too much out of that curve. But that slip up from Biffle, running down. Gaggle of cars right here. Truex, Kentiff, Boyer, and Bush. So got about 36 cars left out here. As Biffle continues to lead, down the hill they go. Gordon still has Biffle on his side. Gordon maybe a faster than the 16 car, though. He won at Nashville a few races ago. At the 24 of Jeff Gordon. But Greg Biffle trying to hang on here, at least for the stage 1 win. Here at Townie, great through that section this time for Greg Biffle. Hamlin a little bit up on the curb, so is Truex. Hamlin's going to give up a little bit of time. I think I saw Boyer going a little bit wide there too. And around goes David Stremme into the wall. Dale Jarrett going to go around into that wall. It's probably day over for those two. Gordon still chasing after Biffle. Truex in the third. Hamlin is falling back. Kyle Busch is in pit road. And Hamlin has somehow gotten stuck. Hamlin hit the guardrail. Bizarre crash for Denny Hamlin as he tries to get it back to pit road. Bobby Gordon pitted after his accident. He's probably not going to go out down unless he spins out again as we watch these guys heading to Calamity Corner. Just going to be neat and tidy for Craig Biffle through there, and he is, but Gordon kept it a little bit more tight. And Truex Jr. is going to go around hard into the wall. That's your third place runner, Martin Truex Jr. He's going to have damage to that one car. Hamlin has re-emerged from that guardrail spot. So Hamlin does get unstuck there, but with a load of damage. Or is set in pit road with some sort of issue. Of Stremme, who just came out of pit road, as we're on the white flag in stage number 1. As they come around the corner for the final time. In the stage, Gordon still trying to chase down Greg Biffle in the 16 car. For this race lead. Pass will go to David Stremme as Jeff Green is actually out of the race, so something happened to that 66 car. But as they come through, I guess you can call it the neighborhood if you don't want to call it Calamity Corner. Biffle up on the curb. Greg Biffle is going to go around from the lead of the race. Greg Biffle spins out from the race lead in the corner that he had driven perfectly all day. And Jeff Gordon is going to come around these final corners and win stage number 1 here from Townie. Greg Biffle had it and then he threw it away. But it's Gordon who wins stage 1. And Biffle is shaking his head inside of that car right now. Probably cannot believe he just threw that stage win away. We're going to go forward to make sure these guys aren't running each other over under yellow. It is going to be David Stremme who gets the free pass. No crashes under caution this time. But Biffle is getting service to his number 16 car. The AmeriQuest, number 16. I don't know why he overdrove it that much. But his hood now removed, and I believe that will be the end of Greg Biffle having a chance to win today. So if you're stiff for the Biff, sorry for you. Might be stacking it up back here. Nope. Yep, they're stacking it up. Letzinger narrowly avoids getting stacked up. You see, Boris said's hood crumpled up a little bit. Everyone hits pit row. And Kyle Busch does not stay out. Or will he? Maybe he was just so far back that we didn't see him. Kyle Busch is going to stay out and inherit the lead of the race. Gordon ahead of Kenseth and Earnhardt Jr. Edwards gets his hood removed. There's PJ Jones and Butch Letzinger. Bobby Gordon coming off pit road with his mangled car. But we're going to come around for the restart as Denny Hamlin is diving back for pit road. So Denny Hamlin goes back down pit road here to this caution. Newman and McMurray having a dispute over position. It looks like we're gonna get back green, maybe? Pace car is still out here. But we'll see what happens. Well, Busch is actually missing a spot and he's leading the race. Green flags back in the air. So Busch probably won't have much to say. He'll have something to say about teammate Jeff Gordon leading the race, and that's you aren't going to lead the race, Jeff Gordon. Hamlin's back down pit road, probably trying to avoid getting caught up in something, and also just finishing repairs on his car. Pretty damaged 88 car. Be a bit of an issue for the guys. You might see green flag pit stops here though. Kyle Busch had a bad restart, but he's pretty up to speed now as he's hustling Matt Kenseth in this 17 car. Kenseth has won this year. He won that crazy fuel mileage finish at it. And Kyle Busch is not done yet. Look at the 5 car and look at the 17 side by side for the race lead. Busch and Kenseth and Busch. Kenseth better not overdrive it here or Busch is going to have the perfect opportunity. And that's exactly what's going to happen. He does overdrive that corner sideline. Newman going a bit wide. So now Kyle Busch, with a damaged car, is going to lead the race here at Townie. Like under green, Boris said and Ryan Newman coming to pit road. But Kyle Busch just led the race with his hood gone. You didn't think that would happen today, just someone, I'm going to lead this race. I don't have a hood, I'm just going to lead it because I feel like it. But it seems like that 5 is unaffected here in the corners when you're not going. Well, 120 is still a high speed, don't get me wrong, but Are you fucking kidding? Sorry, my recording cut out there for a second. The 120 is still pretty high speed, as I mentioned before. But it's not high speed for our standards. If you watch this series, as Kyle Busch continues to lead, extending that gap over Matt Kenseth. Here in the 17, they're both gonna make it through those corners pretty well this time around. His boy Menard having a great. Oh, Jamie McMurray's gonna go around. He collects Kurt Busch in the 2. Not much damage for these two, it seems like. But McMurray just got that curve in Calamity Corner and just spun himself and Kurt Busch around. But they closed the gap with Kyle Busch, especially on this last part of the track. But Busch controls the race everywhere else on this racetrack. Here's the thing, Busch. Before the stage. These guys might have to put before the stage end. Jeff Gordon making a move on Matt Kenseth, side by side for second. And Busch likes this. Busch wants them to battle as long as they want. He just doesn't want to be in the battle. Chasing after Busch, and you can see how much that 17 closes once they put the foot to the floor. Busch knows this. Busch knows how much they're gaining. His spotters up there telling him. Now just watch how much this gap closes as they cross the train after when they come through these final 2 corners. Kenseth not able to gain very much on Busch that lap. He's going to be about a 10th back. 2.0 2:31. But he's going to have a look here in the 1. In terms of lap times, Busch ran a 1:38.97. So these two behind are faster than Kyle Busch. But Busch is just being a menace to them right now. But they're not losing too much time to the cars behind. Like you think Jimmy Johnson, as Dave Blaney just being out from the race, you think that Jimmy Johnson would be able to roll right up to the back bumper. But that hasn't been the case. You saw Ryan Newman pit a couple laps ago, so I think he might be the leader of the race when we get the stage 3 restart. Motorsports trying to go for 5 in a row with wins. Johnson at Charlotte, Gordon at Nashville, Johnson at Michigan, Johnson at Pocono, and now it could be Kyle Busch at Townie. We'll just have to see how this race plays out. There's Wade's leader, Jimmy Johnson. Juan Montoya having a good day. He's one of these guys you'd expect to run well on the road course, former F1 driver. Butch Letzinger right here in the 18th spot, as we mentioned earlier, making it his first of 2 planned starts this year. Since Sonoma next week is our last road course of the year, so if you don't like road courses, then you're in luck. I think Kyle Busch Kyle Busch is in the pit road. So he told you he thought he might not make it to the stage end with the race lead. That was correct. So Busch comes down pit road, and now they're free to run Matt Kenseth's pace. Pace, because it's a similar situation to stage 1. Gordon is mounting a Roush Fenway car, and the Fenway car is trying to make a mistake and let the 24 go. Greg Biffle ultimately didn't make a mistaken, he's back to 25th. So Matt Kenseth does not want to make the same mistake that his teammate Greg Biffle did, but he has Gordon and Johnson hounding him, and Harvick's going to be up there soon too if they're not careful. Here we go again. Can Kenseth hang on to it? 25 is when this stage ends, so Kenseth needs to be perfect for these remaining laps in the stage. Elliott Sadler up here having a good day right now. You know, you see some surprises that you wouldn't expect to see. Sadler right here trying to run down Earnhardt Jr. for 6th. Halfway through this race. Gordon's able to close in much more on the brakes as we look back to Kyle Busch, who came out ahead of Ryan Newman. Boris says going to hit pit road here. I would assume Hamlin will be soon to follow. No? Hamlin decides to not pay Newman's running a 138 flat. Newman's about a second faster than the race leader right now. I'm not sure how much you lose under green flag pit stop too, but I think if Newman could be like within 38 seconds, he'd be pretty close to the race lead. With how hard these guys are running. Here we go again. Kenseth's able to get the run here to this part of the racetrack, and that allows him to have a little bit of breathing space to Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson, so he's not really under pressure through these turns. Boya with a big move up the inside of Sadler for 7th. Montoya actually gets the curbs a little. Menard not close enough to get him though. David Reagan a little bit off track. He's going to get the wall and go for a slide. Reagan was having a solid day in 13th. Biffle and PJ Jones having himself a battle. You see Kyle Busch battling with Joe Nemechek. Bobby Gordon comes down pit road now. See how far back Busch is. Busch is about. It's going to be a little bit until we see Busch cross low. No, he already has cross line. 140 that last time around for Busch, but he was stuck behind Nemechek, so he was about 2 seconds slower than he would have wanted to be. But it seems like he had cut it down a good bit, since it says he only lost 1 second to the leader that lap. Again, Kenseth trying to hang on to it. Taking a little bit more conservative of an approach, but Gordon closed that time. Boyer gets the curb, he's going to slide up the hill. And here comes Montoya. Sadler going to look next to Boyer for that position. Earnhardt Jr. running Harvick down. For a little bit last week at Pocono, it looked like Dale Earnhardt Jr. could have been able to win that race. Unfortunately for him, did not go his way. Seconds back to Kevin Harvick right now for this top 3. So they have caught a nail that they can keep it together here. They know if Gordon gets next to Kenseth and Kenseth gets the curb, the door is open for Jimmy Johnson to take the race lead. Busch still charging through this field. 22nd place right now. great move on the inside of PJ Jones. You see Biffle is going to go past Brian Vickers in the 83 car. So great move for Biffle, and now Busch can probably go follow him. Back up front, here's the leaders. Kenseth a little wide. And Gordon's gonna close. And here they come, they're coming to pit road. Green flag pit stops for the race leaders. Harvick's gonna stay out. One of the fastest pit roads we have here. And Kenseth's able to check these two up a little bit because of where his pit stall is. Did Harvick come back? Kenseth with an issue. Kenseth with an issue in pit road. And Boyer is going to jump ahead of Jimmy Johnson. So a catastrophic pit stop for Matt Kenseth, who is still sitting here, losing position after position. Now he leaves his pit stall. But Kenseth came in as the race leader, and now he's going to come out buried in traffic. And there's Kyle Busch in second. So if Busch had not gotten caught up in traffic there, he would have probably been able to have this race lead. Trying to get the lead away from Gordon as they're going to be side by side here on the streets. Gordon's got to be careful here. It's going to be a little deep here into the corner. Boyer up the racetrack a little bit. That's going to give Johnson the look he wants. Only the 2 to go in stage number 2 here from Townie. And it's not over yet, because here comes Kyle Busch. And the 5 car get this stage win. Let's look back through the field. We got 2 cars off track. That's Ron Fellows and John Andretti, who both went around into the wall. A little bit back. Andretti just way over that curbing. Kyle Busch with the neater line here from here. But can Gordon hold him off? The gap extended a little bit from the last time we came through here. But Busch is going to have the better drive here. Gordon trying not to let himself get into... And Gordon's going to go up the hill. Gordon onto the curbing. Here comes Kyle Busch in the 5. Kyle Busch with a huge run after Gordon gets onto the curb. But Gordon's going to hang on to the race lead. White flag in stage number 2. Can Gordon hang on with no mistakes? Montoya up here in the top 5 coming himself a great day. Carl Edwards has completely messed something up. Edwards wanted to pit and couldn't make it. But Gordon's just stretching his gap over Kyle Busch. He's going to take a Greg Biffle type mistake, and Kevin Harvick's out of the race. We'll check what happens at the 29. Maybe he probably spun on that in-lap. That's my best guess at it. Here's Gordon. Through these S's for the final time in stage number 2. Big lead over Kyle Busch. As he gets up onto that curbing. And Jeff Gordon is going to come through the final corners to win stage number 2 here from Townie. So Gordon will win stage number 2 over Johnson and Boyer. And Busch still gets stage points despite hitting. Wasn't the cause of the yellow. So we'll just, it was a weird situation, so we'll let both of them down. Split strategy here at the front of the field. Oh, poor said gets into Butch Letzinger. But pretty split on the strategy here. Edwards is gonna pit. So is poor said. Letzinger is gonna pit. So too is Robbie Gordon. Kurt Busch is gonna pit. So too Dale Jarrett and Denny Hamlin. McMurray, Andretti, Reagan gonna come down. Edwards will come out on the lead lap. There's the 60th said he's going to get back on the lead lap only just as he flies by the field. Here come the field back to the green flag. It's Gordon over Johnson, Boyer, Montoya, and Menard. Green flag back in the air. And it's a great jump for Gordon. Boyer's now going to get a look up the inside on Johnson. Can he outdrive that 48? Yes, no, he won't. So one more pit stop in this race for these guys. And it looks like Jeff Gordon's the car to beat. Won't count his teammate Johnson out, or the 07 of Boyer though. But I don't think anyone wants to see a Jimmy Johnson repeat. Great day over the 15 car. Maybe if some things go the right way, he can get his way up into the race lead. Maybe it's gonna take a lot, since this top 3 is just so good at the moment. Oh, but Gordon's gonna get knocked wide by the curb. Here comes Johnson and Boyer as they head for the final turns. Right now, still a great gap for that 24 car. And there's Kenseth back up into the top 10 after having a slow pit stop. But Johnson and Boyer can run with Jeff Gordon here. And potentially one Montoya. A couple of mistakes from this 24 car, maybe even a crash, which isn't out of the realm of possibilities. We've seen a leader crash today, Greg Biffle, but I think Boyer might be a little bit faster than Johnson because he wants to go, and Johnson might not have enough pace at the moment. Here's Boyer. Looking to the outside, can't get there. Well, we're gonna need a mistake out of Johnson here in the Calamity corner. Not gonna get it though. As Gordon stretches his gap, you see it visually stretching here. As Kyle Busch is going to look around the outside of Bonnie here. Can't quite do anything right now. They lost about half a second that lap. But Gordon could also just have a disastrous pit stop like Matt Kenseth did, as we saw. To get by this 48 car. He's looking, but Johnson gets the drive off. I think Calamity is where these guys are going to have the best opportunity to make a pass. But Boyer's got to run. Johnson really wide there. And I think the 48 is struggling just a little bit. Gordon a little wide through that corner. Busch is still trying to find a way past Labonte and has. So can Busch put himself as a contender here before this is said and done? 10 laps to go from Townie. Gap still about a second. For Johnson and Jeff Gordon. Johnson's not got much breathing space. Back to Clint Boyer in the 07. So maybe, just maybe, Johnson will make the mistake that allows Boyer to get by. This would also require Boyer to be close enough, and he will be close enough. All over the back bumper of Jimmy Johnson. This is where the 07 has shined. Perfect corner required for Jimmy Johnson right here. Here we go. It is a good corner. But Boyer was so much better in the pits than these guys last time we pitted under. Oh, and they are pitting. The leaders come down pit road here with 10 laps to go here from Townie. Boyer's going to be able to get his service first out of these guys. And I think Kyle Busch in the 5 might have stayed out. There goes Gordon. Is Boyer having an issue? An issue for Clint Boyer in the pits. May have just sealed the race for Jeff Gordon. Here comes Juan Montoya off pit road. But there can always be another caution. Did stay out here. So we'll see how the pit stop goes for the 5. Trying what's called an overcut. He'll stay out a little bit longer. Trying to gain some track position. Maybe get a lucky caution. Butch Letzinger also staying out on the racetrack right now. Currently in about 12. There you see Jamie McMurray, he went around earlier. There's David Reagan in the 6. And Montoya way up on that curve. But Busch stays out yet another lap. And this could be what helps Johnson catch back up as lap traffic for Jeff Gordon. Montoya is about 5 seconds back. There you see Gordon struggling to get around the 44th Dale Jarrett. And this could be the thing, as I mentioned, that lets Jimmy Johnson catch up. But now the 44 is going to get out of the way. Seems like that's what he was trying to do, but Gordon just ended up in his line. If you're Jeff Gordon right here, if your biggest fear is one of these guys crashing and you get caught up in it, because especially if like John Andretti goes on, because look at this speed difference. And don't wreck yourself trying to pass these guys, because they'll be out of your way eventually. Juan Montoya from the 3rd spot, provisionally 3rd, has gone around. And what a great day that 42 was having. Busch is going to feed out in the third spot. Montoya out of the race, and that's going to be a heartbreaker because that's going to be a top 5 for the 42 at least. But now Bobby Labonte is going to be in third. Fourth. Caution would change everything, though, for these guys. And Johnson's not going away. Edwards has similar pace to Jeff Gordon, so he needs a 99 to make a mistake, just like that. But the 99 probably wants to stay on this lead lap. But sometimes Jeff Gordon says no. Across the stripe goes a 24. About 2 seconds ahead of Johnson. 7 seconds ahead of Kyle Busch. Labonte, Yaley, Burton, Newman, Lexinger. Bunch of good cars, bunch of surprises here in the top 10, including Robbie Gordon, whose car looks like it's been through a nuclear experiment today. But Boyer looked like he was going to contend for this win. Down to 10th. But Gordon just needs 5 perfect laps after this one, and he'll be home free. A little bit deep there into the corner for Jeff Gordon. .138.3. Kyle Busch pitted a little bit after these guys, so obviously this will be his first good lap on these tires. Let's see how much faster he is. Johnson lost about 0.2 of a second that lap for Busch. Slower than the leader that time. Andretti and Kenseth really wide through here. Boyer going past the 26 of Jamie McMurray. But the one holding Johnson up is Carl Edwards. But Edwards is going to slide, and Johnson's going to get to go through finally. Here's Gordon up on that curve again every time he goes through there. I keep thinking that I'm going to have to talk about Jeff Gordon going for a spin into that wall, maybe even a flip. You never know what's going to happen each time you come through this corner. You see all the tire marks from where people have gone around there today. Vickers right there still running. And Johnson lost a good chunk of time that lap to Gordon, a second at 1.3 seconds. while he was running behind Edwards. So for Gordon, trying to get his second win of the season, and is Hendrick coming to life at the right time? We were kind of wondering where Jimmy Johnson was, where Jeff Gordon was, because we've seen Kyle Busch missing at the start of the year. Johnson and Gordon were plagued by issue after issue after issue. Johnson looked like he was going to win at Las Vegas, and he got spun out. Gordon looked like he was going to contend for the win at Phoenix. He had troubles of his own. But now, it just seems that both of them have finally put together a good enough day. Matt Kenseth looked good, problems for him. Greg Biffle looked good, problems for him. It's about being as perfect as these two cars, and these two at the end of the season are probably going to be the ones that are battling for the championship. We'll continue to look back at the field for any major wreck that happens that will require a caution. How about this 23 car? We're going to see him next week too. Maybe he'll put on a similar run for us. 3 to go. Johnson closed a little bit that time back. Not enough though. Truex working on Sean Andretti here, and Andretti's going to go a little wide. Kevin LePage finished top 10 in this car in that wild race we had at Texas about a month ago. Just think about it. Since we're talking about Hendrick streaks, unless something major happens, they're about to go 5 in a row. Sonoma next week, they could win that one. Chicago, they could win that. That's 7 in a row. Atlanta, North Wilkesboro, Indianapolis. Could they do it 10 in a row? Mears dominated Atlanta earlier this season, and maybe it won't be all through Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson. But they are running down this lap car here. David Stremme. And Gordon's going to have a bit of a problem with this lap car of Mark Martin as well. So one more obstacle for Jeff Gordon to deal with in this race. Martin moves over for Stremme's being a bit more difficult. But now he gets by David Stremme. There's JJ Yeley. He's been trying to make his charge toward the chase. Another top 10 run for him today. Hamlin right there, 25th. He got that issue in stage 1, never fully recovered from it. Gonna still finish ahead of a bunch of cars. But all they're hoping is that we get to this white flag without any crashes. Which it seems like we've done. White flag in the air for Jeff Gordon. Johnson 3.2 back, not going to be able to go 3 in a row unless Gordon spins it. You know, we had that big crash in stage number 1. And then it's been kind of calm the rest of this day, you know. Coda, we saw be a bit of a calm race. Watkins going. We saw be a bit of a wreck fest. We didn't go more than like 3 laps without a yellow at Watkins going. But aside from a few lazy spins right there in the comedy corner, it's been a calm race. Now Jeff Gordon's gonna come through the final corners. No need to push it too hard here. You know, tires are worn, slip sliding around a bit more. But I think he has done everything perfectly. He's been in the lead for a bunch of this race. I'll guess right now probably 30 laps. And now for his second one of the year, we wondered where Jeff Gordon was. Jeff Gordon wondered where Jeff Gordon was. Now here he is. 2 wins in the last 4 races for Jeff Gordon. He gets it done at Townie, out driving Jimmy Johnson. Johnson saying Kyle Busch is going to come on third. Ryan Newman's going to get by the 43 of Obani. So Newman's going to get 4th place here today in Townie. There's Burton, 18-year. And you see Boyer, who probably thinks he should have been out there in the top 3 at the end, racing with Gordon and Johnson. Jamie McMurray. Junior, who had some pit troubles, and Butch lets him go. I'm gonna bring home a top 10. Ricky Rudd, lap down, 10th, 11th. Reagan with a good day. Reagan actually spun earlier from 13th. He's gonna finish 12th. Truex and Johnny Miller. He's not having a good day, but I wonder what happened to him. Here's Casey Kane, Robbie Gordon, Brian Vickers, Greg Biffle. Spun out while leading in stage 1, he's going to bring in the top 20 still.